Alright, y'all. So this is what we're doing. I have 1 gallon in there already. Regular tap water. It's hot though. Not like really hot. Well, I guess wow, that's pretty warm. It's straight from the freaking bathtub pretty much because I didn't want to wait forever to fill this thing up. But this is a 1 gallon ice cream bucket. This is our vat that we're going to use to perform the cleaning on this, which I'm not sure is going to come real clean. We have other stuff around here we can clean that has some rust on it, just in case this isn't too, you know, mind-blowing. But for your electrolyte solution, which I mentioned in the last part of this video, what you're going to need is either baking soda or washing powder, okay? Either one works. Arm & Hammer is really good for it. This isn't an advertisement for Arm & Hammer, but it works. And you want to use 1 tablespoon per gallon. And we already have 1 gallon in our vat, so what we're going to do is put 2 tablespoons in here, mix it in here, and then pour it into the vat. So that way we don't have to worry about getting everything mixed up before we put it in there. And this isn't scientific. It doesn't have to be perfect. You know, look at that. That looks like it's more than a tablespoon to me, but guess what? Still going in there. And we're just going to mix that up and get it completely dissolved before we pour it in here. Once that's done, we are going to move to the last step. Okay, now that that's completely dissolved, see if you guys can kind of see it. You can see the bottom, no problem. It's completely dissolved. We're just going to pick this up, dump it in there. Not sure if you guys are going to be able to see it, but we're going to try to do it so you guys can see it. And without destroying my camera. Dump that right in there. And now we have 2 gallons and 2 heaping tablespoons of baking soda, and that is our electrolyte solution. That's all it is, okay? So after we do that, we now have to set up our charger, okay? The charger pretty much is just a battery charger, your average everyday battery charger. And what's going to happen is we're going to set this point right here with the positive, and we're going to use this hole that I drilled in the center of here for a completely different project to suspend this in the electrolyte solution and give us a negative in the center and a positive on the outside. The reason why we're doing that is because what happens is the anode, well, the anodes pretty much are these little bits right here, the sacrificial pieces, are going to pull the rust literally off of this part right here, off of our angle cutters, and they're actually in pretty good shape. I stirred the electrolyte solution with these and they look better already, so I'm wondering if the rust is a little bit lighter than I was thinking it was. But we'll still see results. We should still see results after this is done. So we're going to leave it there for maybe a couple hours. Definitely take it off our freezer because I don't want to short our freezer out just in case anything does happen. And we're going to see how this works out. So I'm going to wire this up real quick and bring you guys back. So here's the dealio. Now we have our negative terminal on the diode. Okay, that's the one that's going to be cleaned, the wrench or our side cutters. Our anodes are 2 main caps for our 1.9 engine in my Escort, and they're hooked up via this pretty hefty gauge speaker wire with a positive terminal. Now what you want to do with your charger is you want to put it on 12 volts, but you want to put it on 2 amps, okay? You don't want to put it on 12 volts, 10 amps, engine start, all that crap. It's just too much, and I'm not sure how safe that is. So, you know, of course, with anything like this, you want to be careful. Preferably, you don't want to be on top of an electric freezer, but today, this is what's going down. So that's pretty much the setup. That's how you want to do it. Okay, so what we're going to do is turn this to 12 volts, and we're going to turn this on, and what we should get is some bubbles in there immediately. If we don't get bubbles, we know that we need a better connection. I'm not seeing any bubbles. Still no bubbles. Yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay, so we're probably having a connection issue here. So let's see what happens if we get rid of that little washer, or just not connect via that washer and connect straight to the wire. Okay, that was simple. Just connected it to the actual wire instead of the washer. And we're off right now. No volts. Turn it back on. And now we should have bubbles. And I'm still not seeing any bubbles. It should be instant. When you do this, it should be instant. You should instantly see bubbles, which is pretty much the rust being pulled off the old part. So they should all bubble. Like everything in the water should bubble. So, and I'm not seeing that right now. Still, maybe a little bit. Nope, still not seeing it. It should be bubbling pretty good too. So we're gonna check this connection. Turn it off. Reconnect this. Kind of makes me nervous because these two are kind of close together, so it does make me nervous. Quite a bit nervous, and I bet you that was the problem because it looks like it was on plastic or the insulation for the wire. So now, hopefully I don't get shocked. Back on. The voltage is way lower. Do we have bubbles? It's a question. Yep, we got bubbles. Not sure if you guys can see them. Now we're getting bubbles. See bubbles actually building up on the centerpiece by itself. All the wires have like little bubbles coming, almost like Alka-Seltzer is what it looks like. When you drop Alka-Seltzer into some water, that's how it looks like. Okay. So, oh yeah, it's really bubbling now. Alright, so we're going to leave this for 10 minutes, come back, take another look at it, so you guys can see the scum that builds up. And you don't want to smoke around this stuff, because what it does when when you do this is it splits the water molecules, okay? Water is hydrogen and oxygen. They're both very combustible, so you do not want to smoke around this, okay? But we're gonna let this sit for 10 minutes, come back. Oh yeah, it's bubbling good now. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Okay, so we're gonna come back in 10 minutes, see how this looks like. See how our part looks like. See if we still got bubbles. We should have a soap scum on the top. Alright, you guys, it's only been about 5 minutes, but I just decided to come back and let you guys see it. It's really working. See those bubbles? That stuff is really working, and it looks like Alka-Seltzer. Like if you look right there, you see bubbles coming right off the tip. If I turn this off real quick, it'll stop. Completely stop. See it? You can see it in the shadow of the actual bar right here. There's a shadow there where you can see the part that's being cleaned. Now watch when I turn it back on. Yeah. So it's working. It's working pretty good. We're gonna continue to let this go. Probably even longer than what I said. Probably 30 minutes, maybe even an hour. Mainly until it stops bubbling. When it stops bubbling, you know that it's done. So we're gonna just let it go. Regrets, night sweats, occasional thoughts of suicide. Anyway, look at how that looks. This is probably about 30 minutes later, close to an hour later, actually. 30-40 minutes later. You can really see that tool in there bubbling big time. This one's not bubbling as much as that one, it seems. It's definitely getting everything off. I honestly feel like everything's probably off the sides already, and what we're seeing really is just a residual BS, but you can see it. Almost looks like a little torpedo or something on there. But we're gonna leave it in there because it's still bubbling quite a bit. If you do end up in this situation where you have a lot of rust to get rid of, you can leave this overnight. Put it somewhere where nobody's gonna mess with it, where it's gonna be well ventilated, and it will pretty much turn off by itself. I mean, it won't turn off, this whole system won't turn off, but once all the rust is off of there, there's nothing left to react, so it'll stop by itself, so you don't have to worry about damaging anything. You'll just use up a little bit of electricity powering this thing, and it'll all be gravy. But it's going pretty good so far. Just a tip for future reference. Those anodes, you see how it's green? I don't want to stick my finger in there. Right there, see how it's green? Those are going to eventually get destroyed completely, bottom line. When I take this out, I'm going to show you how that looks. It's all slimy and nasty, like years of corrosion happens in a very short period of time, so it just stacks up on there. But it's going pretty good so far. It's looking pretty darn good, and it's bubbling so much I don't want to stop it, so we're just going to keep on going. Hope you guys can see that. Oh yeah, you can definitely see it right there. Yeah, look at that. Now watch when I turn it off real quick. Just real quick, turn it off. And the bubbles pretty much are stopped. I mean, it's just a little bit of bubbles in there, but not anywhere compared to what it was. Now when I turn it back on, look at that. So it works. It works very well too. So we're gonna leave that in there. Probably another, I don't know. I don't want to spend all day doing this. I have other videos to make, so another 30 minutes, 45 minutes, maybe even an hour. And then we're gonna cut this short and pull it out and wire brush it clean. Use a wire brush, clean it up and make it look real spiffy. Okay, this just struck me. What we're gonna do is disconnect this negative battery terminal, put it on the plastic real quick. We're gonna leave the positive on there. We have that off, so we can keep our shit straight. The negative is the one you want to disconnect. The negative is the juice cable. It really should be reversed. I'll explain that in a little bit. Because the negative, if there was ever one to kill you, it would be this one, okay? So disconnect that one and flip this bad boy around, okay? I'm gonna flip this around plain and simply because, like I said before, it's line of sight. So it's probably slowing down just because there's so much corrosion on that side. So what we're gonna do is mitigate that issue by flipping it around, okay? That's it. That's all we're doing. And then we're going to reconnect this, and just to show you, there's no bubbles, right? And it's off. So we're going to connect it again. Got to make sure that's connected to where it's not going to fall. There we go. We connected it again, still no bubbles. Now we're going to turn it back on. Boom, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. So it's working. It's working good. You can use up all your electrolyte solution. If you can look, the water has this nasty tint to it now. It usually all sticks to the sacrificial pieces and they'll eventually crumble away to nothing, but that's really thick cast iron. Okay, so it takes a long time for that to happen. What I would like to do is turn that bit sideways now, the piece sideways to get the sides, but you know what, I don't think I'm gonna have the time to do all that today. Anyway, let's go over why that's more dangerous than that, okay? Everybody would tell you to disconnect the negative battery cable on your car before you work on it. Plain and simply, your negative is technically your positive, okay? All of the electrons come out through that side, okay? So when you're in a situation to where you're gonna, be in a possibly potentially dangerous situation, that's it. That's why that's the ground wire. So when it goes in, it goes to the ground instead of going into you. That's safety precautions, and this is really a perfect example of how that works, and I mean just the flow of electricity, okay? So in theory, not even in theory, just logically, okay, we're removing rust from that part that's connected to the negative battery cable, right? And if you think about it, the rust is being attracted to the positive side. All right, makes sense so far? Okay, the reason why is because the electricity, the flow of electrons is literally going in through the negative, through the water, through the electrolyte solution, and taking the rust particles with it and depositing it to the positive side, which is the anodes. These anodes here and here. So I mean the sacrificial pieces are positively charged, so to speak, positively charged. So we can use that term loosely. But either way, that's how it works. The negative is the one that will kill you. If you want to be careful with electricity, disconnect the negative, 'cause that's the real brunt of the danger. I did not see you walking up. My cousin just scared the crap out of me. Anyway, freaking so that's how it works. I mean, that's why that's not decaying and getting all jacked up, the copper. And you can actually do copper plating with stuff like this too. You have to have a different solution, but you can copper plate things, you can nickel plate things using electrolysis. I'm not sure how we're gonna try that, but I would like to try that one day. I can't really think of anything on my car, you know, or anything else that I'd actually like to plate, but you know, I'm very curious about that and how it will work, and you know, how that would pertain to somebody else's everyday life if they want to, you know, start selling something or start manufacturing or start their own business. You know, I'm interested in that. So anyway, we're gonna come back in another hour and see where this is. Okay, YouTube. As you can see, I have everything disconnected. What we're gonna do is rotate that piece. Since it's all disconnected, I can touch everything now without being paranoid. We're gonna disconnect that piece. We're not gonna disconnect it. We're gonna rotate it 90 degrees. So just put it over here for now and see if we can get away with just turning it. Usually I like to do this stuff before I start filming so I don't spin. Ooh, wow, look, and see, this is what the rust turns into right there. That black sooty stuff is what it turns into. We're gonna try to rotate this 90 degrees. Let's put you guys down. You guys are just gonna have to suffer for a second while I figure out how I'm gonna get this turned. Rotate this over the, great. Yay! This is what I like doing it, not live. Like, having time to make sure I have all my ducks in a row. But, that's all we're doing, rotating it that way. Reinserting it right back into the solution there. Ugh, yeah, that crap. There was a lot more rust in there than I thought. So, clean my hands off real quick. We're gonna hook right back up. And get right back to doing the sides, because what I'm thinking is happening, honestly, is the sides are getting a little bit of treatment, and we want a lot of bit of treatment. We want to get it done, and you know, I'd rather just move it instead of sit there and wait all day for it, you know. So we're gonna hook this up as good as we possibly can. Plug her back in. Oh, it's already plugged in. So again, no bubbles. You can tell that it looks different now. Turn it back on, and we might not get bubbles right off the bat because it has to get used to, you know. Oh wow, never mind. Instantly bubbles right out the gate. So we're gonna let this run for probably another hour again. That wasn't an hour the first time. I just got impatient and I just, you know, swapped them around real quick. We're gonna let this run for another hour and then come back and look again and see how it looks. Well, YouTube, it has been a couple of hours and that stuff is still bubbling. And if you look at our sacrificial pieces, they're getting worse and worse and worse. But like I said, that is still bubbling quite profusely. So you know what? We're just going to leave that on there for a little bit longer. I was going to take it all off, but looking at it bubble, I'm thinking I should just leave it on there longer. I mean, look how much scum is at the top. Shit's gross. So we're going to leave it probably another 10 minutes. 10-20 minutes, and then we're going to take this all apart. I got people in my garage. People. Family. My little sister. So anyway, so I don't want this stuff out, you know, with her around, you know, other family members, whatever. So we're gonna give this 10 more minutes, and then we're gonna pull it out and see what it looks like. Hey YouTube, it's Nezrak, and this is day 2, part 2 of our, well, maybe part 3, because we have quite a lot of editing to do. Just to let you guys know how much editing I'm doing. It looks junky, but it's not, trust me. I'm publishing part 1 right now. Woke up this morning and started around maybe 7:30. Been working on that since 7:30. I barely finished it, barely published it. 9:40. It's a lot better though, honestly, and I didn't do very much. So, what we're gonna do today is we're gonna check on our part because we left it overnight. Why did we leave it overnight? Plain and simply to get the desired results. So, let's open the magic door. Ooh. Ooh, look at it. Look at it. I don't even think it was bubbling anymore. Gonna find out by turning it back on, seeing if we get bubbles. Oh yeah. Almost no bubbles at all. That's a good sign. That means that it's really, really, really clean. So, let's take it out, YouTube. I'm not sure if you guys can see that stuff in there. But I picked it up, moved it from outside, and it all got cloudy, and I want you guys to see it. You can kind of see the tool in there. It has a layer of rust on top of it. See that? It's kind of moving off. So let's kind of shake it around and lift it out. So it's still got that layer of rust on top of it. But that's all liquid rust, I guess, if you want to call it that. If you look at this thing, that's a lot of glare. Okay, let's look at this one. Look how that's, the copper on there is green. It's pretty much corroded to such a point to where it's, you know, it's changed color, it's corroding. So I'm gonna lift up this main cap so you guys can see how much rust is on that thing. Yeah, oh wow, yeah, it's that corroded. So I mean, boom, right there. So you know what, it probably still had more to do, but it just didn't have enough connection to do that, because that just broke right off. So this is gonna be fun to get out. Now if you look at this one, perfect time to show you, instead of going through all kinds of crap and then showing you again. And then you look at this one's perfect. There's nothing wrong with that one at all, that connection. So that's because, like I said before, you know, the flow of electrons is coming out from the negative and into the positive, so the positive is the one getting stripped. Anyway, from what I understand, if you do it the opposite direction, you could coat things in copper. We might even try that with these. Whatchamacallit right here, God, what's it called? Damn pliers. We might even try it with the pliers just to see how it works. I'm not going to guarantee that, but we might try it. But anyway, just wanted to show you guys where it was. I'm going to take this out, get something to set it on, and then bring it. Alright, so the moment of truth. Oh, look at it. Look at it. So we're going to set it here for now. Try to get you guys angled so you guys can see what's going on. While I untie this, get it ready for the second part of the process. Yes, there's another part of the process. So let's get this untied. Look at that. Now, you want to be careful when you do this, because once it gets exposed to air, it will start to rust again. So if you don't want everything rusty right where you just worked on this thing at, what you want to do is clean it and cover it with oil right afterwards. So even though I just untied this, we're probably going to end up throwing that back in there. But there again, it's that black stuff on my fingers from the old rust that was there. But that's pretty much it. That's what you get. And it looks a hell of a lot better in person, more so than if you were to see it on camera. So we're going to scrub that up and let you guys see it. Alright, y'all. I kept this covered with a wet paper towel. Make sure you guys are in shot. You guys can see what's going on. I kept it covered with a wet paper towel just to keep it from drying out and rusting on me while, that was all going on. And what I brought was a cup full of soap and water. That's an AM/PM cup. And 2 paper towels, okay? So 1 paper towel is going to be for drying it off. The other one's going to be for oiling it, okay? So we're going to put our oiling paper towel somewhere where it's going to stay dry. And we're just going to dip our wire brush, our brass wire brush, in the soap and go to scrubbing. Scrub it up, clean it up nice. This wire brush isn't exactly the best one to use. It has like automotive grease on it. So I gotta watch how I scrub this. But I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like afterward. After I scrub it all up and get it nice and clean and dry, so that way you guys can see how it looks like oil too. So, and it'll stay like this for a good long time too once that's done. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. I don't think that's coming from the brush. I think that's coming from this thing. It's by the color. It's not brown, it's black. All this black stuff has to come off. Otherwise, you'll still have pores there, and the air in the atmosphere is really what causes your metal tools to corrode and degrade. Look at metal. Everybody looks at a metal item and thinks it's, you know, indestructible. The best way to look at metal is like an apple, okay? It's the best way I can say it. Metal is like an apple. If you leave it out too long, once the skin is broken, it will start to rot. Like, you can leave it there for a couple hours and you'll notice, you know, a distinct change in color. And that's how potent our atmosphere is. So that looks pretty good. That's just drips. All that black stuff is just drips from the brush and all that crap that's on it. And all of that was clear when I started. It's like a dark black color now. That's because of all this crud. Let me show you guys the crud. Yeah, that all came off of this thing, okay? So, I mean, it works. It's definitely something you want to do if you find an old cool tool that you know like to collect or whatever. Because I used to be like that. I used to be one of those people who like to collect old tools. Thought they were cool. So we're just gonna dump that in. Like I was saying, so it looks like now you can even see some bare metal there. We took off a lot of the original, what's it called? See if we can get this to focus. We took off a lot of the original protecting stuff on there, which was black evidently. So now we're gonna wipe this bad boy off, get her as dry as possible. I'm not sure if it's a bad boy or if it's a her, but there's still more of that stuff coming off, as you can see. I did rinse it off in there, and that got even darker after I did so. But as you can see, this thing is actually in pretty good shape, even with all of the protectant stuff off of it. So I mean, and we didn't get in these jaws here, in between these little cracks right here that go behind there, and it's still clean. So I mean, it worked pretty good. It worked pretty darn good, if you ask me. I think I just got myself a pair of new side cutters, to be completely honest. So with all of this done, cleaned off, the final step to this process. Ooh, that looks nice. Look at it. That looks. Oh, you guys can't see it. No. If I had a better camera, you guys could see the engravings on the side of this. It's nice. It almost looks Native American or something, or even Mayan. No, I'm not an anthropologist. I'm sorry, but I just think stuff like that's interesting. This is why I liked old tools so much. Okay, this is kind of in the way, but we still need it. So we're gonna use this corner over here to do our oiling. Now, when you oil it and you want to get it, you know, clean or protected, you don't need to oil the crap out of it. You can use different types of oil. I'm going to use the cheap stuff. You can tell by the color of the can what this is. I'm just going to spray a layer on there, wipe it into the pores. Or actually, I'm going to spray a layer on here, let it, or flip it over, spray another layer, let it sit. So one layer. That's a bit overkill, yes, but flip it over real quick because the air will still get to the bottom side. So come on, close. So move that out the way and spray this side. And I'm gonna let this sit for 10 minutes because metal is still porous, okay? Metal, just like concrete, is porous. So when you spray this, let it sit for a while first, 5 to 10 minutes, and then come back and wipe it off. Alrighty, YouTube, we are back. That has sat for a good, I'd say 15-20 minutes. Sat for a long time, okay? Covered in WD-40. Usually one layer of WD-40 is enough, because if you could look, you can see that it's still got a nice film on there. Pretty much all the way around. Still got a decent film on there. So, dry paper towel, and I'm pretty sure it's not completely clean because there's this black, I'm not even sure what it's called. Like, it's not like galvanizing. It's just some black crap crap that's all there that they used to protect this tool when it was being manufactured. So what we're gonna do is replace that with oil. When you do this process, you will have to, yeah, see some of it's still coming off. You will have to re-oil your tools probably, you know, once every 3 or 4 months to be safe. If you use your tools a lot and you get a lot of the acid from your hands in there, I'd say do it, you know, once a month, especially if you're using your tools in a professional environment. In general, you won't, you know, probably go through, you probably won't care so much for tools like this in a professional environment. You'll probably just go out and buy new ones. But if you're doing it at home, you're working out of your garage, you're always looking for ways to save money. This is one way to do it. And baking soda's cheap, wire's cheap, and WD-40's cheap, and water's cheap. Depending on where you live, water is cheap. So if you're in Africa, I'm sorry, but I'm in California. We pretty much live on a water table. Yeah, look at that. There's still more of the black stuff coming off. But it's looking pretty good. And all this was scrubbed, so it's not like I didn't scrub the stuff. But it's nice and oiled now. And if you could see this in person, you'd probably be pretty shocked at how well this came out from where it was. Let's try to get you guys a before and after clip. I'm not sure how to do that with my video editing software, but we're gonna try it. And those engravings, wow, they look gorgeous now. So you guys can't really see those engravings, but man, they look pretty damn nice. This looks like a fancy tool now, even with all the crap on there, or with all the nicks it's received. Looks like somebody was hammering with it at one time. Oh no, hey, that's just part of the design. Who makes this? I think it says P&D or something like that. It's weird. But that's it. So that's the finished product, you guys. There's no rust. Any coloration you see on there is probably from the light from the camera. So I mean, you can see the light there. But I mean, it looks freaking gorgeous right now. It still has a little few patches where the black original coating was, but I mean, it looks nice. And that's how electrolysis works. That's how it cleans your tools, and it makes them last a lot longer. So I mean, looking at these, I'm probably gonna throw these in my toolbox. This is mine now. When I looked at it on the ground, it didn't look like it was worth anything, so I didn't pick it up. And then I was like, hey, I'm supposed to make a video, so. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Feel free to like and subscribe. We're gonna go over a few tips of what else this can be used for any of you who have, you know, cast iron parts, cookware, whatnot. So we'll be right back with that part. So YouTube, I hope you guys enjoyed it. What did we learn today? Electrolysis works. Bottom line, it works, and it works well. Okay, and it doesn't use any harsh chemicals. The leftover byproduct of that can literally be dumped into your garden with the rust particles and all. It's an electrolyte solution, and your plants really like it, ironically. I mean, you'd figure that your plants wouldn't like something like that. They don't care. Metal is technically inorganic material, but it's technically an organic material. It rots, it deteriorates. It's something that is very common to see in nature almost. You know, it's, you can't just look at it and tell it's metal. It just looks like a rock, or the ore for the metals come from the earth. You know, it's just processed, and it's not processed in a way to where, you know, it's damaging to the environment. Most metals, that is. Stainless steel is a different story. But if you were to do this and you wanted to get rid of your waste product, just dump it in the garden. Dump it in the garden, rinse it out, be done with it. You know, it's not poisonous, it's not bad for you. You know, you don't want to dump it in a high traffic area and get it all in your house from walking through it. But I mean, it works. It definitely works. Other things that this can be used for is for people who, like me, once upon a time when I was probably 12 or 13, I was really into collecting old tools, old knives, just older stuff, hand tools, you know, like older stuff that you don't see very often is what I was really into. Like, I have a C-clamp here that I use to do brakes, that's like from 1980, I think. It's really old. But I mean, that's what, you know, this is good for. It's for cleaning those old tools, cookware, even like a cast iron skillet. Like, let's say you were to be on a camping trip and you found a cast iron skillet that looks like it had been there for a really long time and you wanted to restore it. This would be perfect. You wouldn't have to use CLR, and then afterward you could actually season it and cook with it. So I mean, it's all about your application and what you're into, and the uses you'd have for it. You know, this is very easy to do. Anybody can do it. You know, just make sure you're safe. Setting it outside is kind of scary. I was afraid one of the cats in the neighborhood would come over and try to drink it from it and get shocked, but didn't come back and see a dead cat, so everything was okay. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe. This is Nezrak. I can't think of anything else to say besides I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a nice day. Peace.